Hi, welcome to Urban Insights. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I have with me Aarti Harbhajanka, and she is the founding partner and managing director of Primus Partners. So, Aarti, very quickly, what does Primus do? And also, we're talking about a specific report. We're talking about the one where you talked about citizens' participation in municipal governance. So, tell me, what is the genesis of that report as well?
Sure. Sure. And thank you so much, Yashi, for having me here. Primus Partners is India's largest homegrown consulting firm. So Primus, okay, we founders, we are six founders. We are originally from the Big Fours. I'm personally firm with KPMG, PwC, Accenture Management Consulting, so on and so forth. We work extensively with government on public policy. So around 7 years ago, Honorable Prime Minister made the clarion call of Atmanirbhar Bharat. India is a service industry, right? 50% of the GDP comes from services. Indian IT industry has made a global mark. We have Indian IT firms like TCS, Infosys, Wipro going out exporting our services. But if you look at other services like consulting, CA, legal, we don't have an Indian giant. We still have international companies coming and giving their services in India. So we thought, why don't we have an Indian company? So with this vision, with this crazy idea, we started Primus Partners. And yes, our aim is to be Indian Big Four if God is kind. And at least over the past 5-6 years, God has been kind. We are now working with we are working with 18 state governments. We are working with Government of India, various private sectors. I mean, if you look at internationally, the top 10 companies with terms of revenue and net worth, five of them are our clients. Five of them are our clients. We have established offices in UAE, in US, so on and so forth. So this was about Primus Partners. Primus Partners is a dream, which I hope we are able to fulfill. Yeah. And coming to this report on listening cities. So I lead the real estate and the urban space in Primus Partners, and we keep writing about various thought leaderships. What is it that the modern India needs, right? If you look at India, the fabric of India is changing. 75 years ago, Honorable Gandhi ji, he said that India lives in villages. That was true 75 years ago, but now it's no longer the case. Now we have around 37% of the people living in urban areas. And by 2047, when India becomes 100, when India has 100 years of independence, more than 50% of people will live in urban areas. But having said that, all of us who work in this domain, I know you work extensively in this domain, we know that our cities are not equipped to handle this growth, right? I mean, in terms of infra, we are just not equipped. Now, we can either be part of the group which keeps complaining that, actually, this is not working, this is bad, the roads are bad, water supply is not, the electricity. Or we can be part of the group which facilitates the change, which is part of the change, right? With terms of urban governance, urban cities, if we have to be part of the change, what do we be part of? So that's where we have to be part of municipal governance, right? That is where the change will begin with respect of cities. So that was where this entire idea came that if we want to be part of change, this is first frontier of government where we need to work with as citizens, as people living in cities. Now, for us to work with them, and that's where then we start having discussions. We realize people are not even aware what is happening with the urban governments. I mean, I'm sure if you have read the report, you would have read when we did a survey. Around 40% of people don't even know who their mayors are. They are their elected representative in the cities, right? And they don't know the names of the mayor. So yeah, so this was the whole genesis of the report that I think we need to be part of this change and we need to at least participate in urban governance.
Right. At one point of time, it was very cool to spend all the money for governments in rural areas, saying that India lives in villages. But after I think it was after 2001, the Mumbai floods, that's when the Millennium was the first attempt to actually bring central money to the cities. And let's figure out what to do with the cities. Then we've had the smart cities mission. Then we've had various Swachhata mission and so on. But
Absolutely.
Indian cities have not actually lifted above that mess, right? Money is there. In various ways, I think they're putting systems in place with the smart cities, with competitive cities, and so on. Cities know that they have to master plan themselves and so on. But somewhere the communication has been very, very patchy. So why do you think that happened? After talking to these a large number of people, what have you come up with?
Okay, first, as you rightly said, right, India is slowly awakening to the fact that yes, people are living in urban. We have initiatives like JNNURM, smart cities, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, so on and so forth, which are focused on urban cities, which are focused on making the cities which we aspire to live in. But having said that, as you yourself mentioned, many of these programs are pushed as they are delivered or they are envisioned at center or maybe at state. And cities are just the implementation bodies. They are not, see, every city is different. Every city, their requirements are different. These programs are not being driven by the people who are living in those cities. That is one. So I think first thing which we strongly believe, which has not happened in India, is that the city governance has not been empowered enough to plan for their own cities. What is my plan for maybe say Mumbai or Delhi or Gurgaon or any, it could be a tier 2 city. What is my plan for the next 5 years as this city? What is it that I need in terms of infrastructure, in terms of services, in terms of social infra like parks, schools, health? So I think that empowerment of cities is not there. In law, it is there, right? So as per the 74th Amendment, which you are aware, there are 18 things which every city is responsible to do. And that covers everything. That covers economic planning, that covers urban planning, that covers infrastructure, services, even poverty alleviation. So I think by law, cities can do everything, but still they are not doing it. I primarily see two, three reasons. First, of course, is the financial wherewithal, right? While some cities, like maybe say a Mumbai, they have the financial power to drive many of these initiatives, but most of the other cities are not financially self-sustainable or self-funded to drive these initiatives.
Is that a problem with our planning process, with our governance process?
Yeah. Sorry?
Is that a problem with our governance process, the way we envisage the entire hierarchy?
So, see, finance is again one of the problem. In fact, I think that's a very small problem, right? Second, as you rightly, I think you're trying to point out, is the cities themselves don't think that they are, what do we say, they have power enough to administer, to govern the entire city. They are more or less become the implementation arms of a state government or a central government. And third most important, which the entire report is all about, is about citizen participation. I think there's a huge disconnect between citizens living in the city and the municipal governance. So that I think is a very big disconnect which is there right now, and I think all of these reasons together, and I'm sure there are many more, which is basically leading to the problems which we face. But having said that, Jeffrey, since I work a lot with the government also, right? I don't think we should be blaming that government is not doing that or the governance is not good enough. What is it that we can do to be part, as in to be part of this change, to ensure that the government is listening to the voices of people, right, that government is doing what the citizens aspire the government to do. So I think that is most important, what we need to work towards.
One of the important things is that the people who are mandated to listen to the citizens, the mayor, the councillors, they should be working at the ward level. Many of them are working at the ward level also. But the city even today is managed by the bureaucrats. And the bureaucrats don't have the security of tenure. A mayor can be there for 5 years, but a bureaucrat comes for 6 months, 8 months, 1 or 2 years, and then leaves. Projects which begin in one person's tenure, the next bureaucrat comes and picks up a project that is of personal passion, and somehow the city, everything is broken up and nothing goes through to its culmination. Is there a way of solving this?
Jeffrey, you're right? So in a city administration, we have the elected person, we have the elected representative who is the mayor, who is the councillor, and then of course we have the bureaucratic head who could be the municipal commissioner or municipal commissioner. You're right, in the current structure, a municipal commissioner is much more powerful compared to maybe a mayor elected representative, primarily because municipal commissioner is maybe an arm of the state, is arm of maybe say the state leadership, honorable chief minister, so on and so forth. How do we change that? Yes, we need to change it if we want the aspirations which we have, right? Where the city should be independent, should be empowered to basically drive the city's aspiration. Yes, this needs to change. The elected representative should have more power and should drive the development agenda of the city.
Yeah.
How do we do that? I think we can do that by being more. I mean, that is my personal thought. I think we can do that by making the elected representative more accountable. Right now, I mean, when we did this survey, first we didn't know who the elected representative were. When we say majority of the people don't know what were the promises the elected representative made when he or she was elected to the post. We don't know what the budget of the city is. We don't know what are the programs which the city is working on. We know nothing. Unless citizens know, unless there is transparency, unless then citizens demand that no, we have chosen so and so representative, we have this expectations. I think then this power mismatch between elected representative and bureaucratic head, I think won't change. So I think we as citizens need to waken up and need to start demanding our rights from the elected representatives, our representatives in the city governance.
Take Mumbai, for instance.
Yeah.
Mumbai is the richest municipality we have in the country, right? They have made a business out of sanctions, out of allowing different kinds of violations which they can rectify, and the city makes money. I mean, there are various ways in which Mumbai. It used to be Octroi earlier. They now have a lot of money. It's a rich municipality. What does it take for municipalities? I mean, most of the other municipalities are around with begging bowls. They have to actually wait for central schemes or state governments to actually make sure. We are talking about roughly, I mean, the Amrut cities themselves are about 4,700. Once we finish census 2026, we're talking about 7,100 cities. That's a humongous
Huge, yeah, absolutely.
So there has to be a process.
True.
Who puts this process in place?
Yeah. So when you say process for what? You're saying process for funds or process for governance?
Process for funds, process for governance, process for as a citizen, if I want to interact, I go around in circles, right?
Yeah.
Which explains the apathy that you noted in yourself. That citizens don't care whether they come out for elections. Increasingly, because of the city problems, citizens at least come out and vote, right?
True.
So what is the starting point so that we have a robust city governance?
Yeah. So see, I'm very with respect to ensuring more citizens are involved, as you rightly said, right? The apathy for citizens go away. Citizens get more information. In my 18 years of experience working with government, I think when we want more citizen to be the guard, citizen to question more on the governance, I think first we need to empower them with information. Yeah. I think first we need to begin with transparency. So, for example, I think you had mentioned in one of the conversations with respect to budget, right? As per the law, as per RTI Act, all the municipal bodies are supposed to put their budgets online, right? Mm-hmm. Many of are supposed to make them available to the citizens. Very few of them make it online. Most of it is available in the office, and as part of regulated, they can just go and avail. And if some have to go to office to avail these budgets, I'll have to go around and on. I will not get it. But more importantly, even if these budgets are available, they are in such format that you and we won't be able to make any sense of, okay, what was there for my ward? What are the plans for my ward? How much was expensed? We won't be able to make sense of it. So I think first we need to start with transparency. We need to start demystifying the entire municipal governance. As a municipal government, what are their responsibilities? What are they doing? Who is doing? Who are the ones responsible for doing what? If I need to be part, for example, as per the law, every municipal government is supposed to have ward committees, right? Now, as part of ward committees, they have representatives of citizens also. But now the times have changed, right? Now we have technology. Why do we still want to have those typical traditional ward committees where they meet maybe in the municipal office or one of those wards, Why can't we have physical plus digital forums, right? for taking feedback from citizens. Why only restrict the feedback to the traditional board committees? Now we're talking about technology, social media. Why can't we do a larger feedback from the people, from the citizens? So I think this thinking somewhere, I think, is not there.
And
I think
who will bring it in? Are these the somewhere change has to happen? And
so Jashi again. Yeah. So Jashi, there are two ways of doing it, right? One is again we ask state governments or central government to mandate, killing every municipal body has to do this, right? That is one way, right? Second way is we are electing our representatives. Why can't we go and tell our representatives this is what we want? One representative takes up, two representatives. Eventually, it would be a movement, right? There are two ways of doing it. I mean, we can try both. Ideally, we should try both. But I think our focus traditionally is India has been the first one, right? As we want a mandate coming down from the higher government. But as citizens, at least why can't we request our representatives to drive this?
I'll give you a small example. You know that I am a champion of every cause that I can find. So I live in Gurgaon, I live in South City 1, and this was transferred from Unitech to the municipal authorities. Today, the city manages these areas. So we said that, it was left in a mess. The developer had gone down. There were lots of problems. So we decided to catch hold of our counselor. And believe you me, with the counselor, the amount of success we had in getting our water problems
Wow.
resolved,
Yeah.
our park problems resolved, there were funds. The
Yeah.
counselor knew where to go
Yeah.
and extract
Yeah.
money from.
Exactly. Yeah.
The citizens still don't know because it's not a transparent
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the point is that when this time the elections happened, the councillor went from block to block, saying,
Yeah.
"Tell me your problems," and
Yeah.
giving a timeline saying 3 months,
Yeah.
6 months, 9
Yeah.
months, 1 year, 3 years, whatever. And the first 3 months,
Yeah.
more or less kept their promises. So this
Oh
is
wow.
and they've done just so
Yeah.
much. So many things are happening that suddenly the people from other wards are saying,
Yeah.
"And I have this too."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
And Cheshire, this is a wonderful story which I think you should keep telling to other people as well. I think this is a wonderful case study.
and actually it's worked.
Yeah.
We've
And even you're right? In terms of counselor, right? The way he knows how to navigate the system. For example, as you mentioned, right? What all services you need. As citizen, you won't know how to navigate the system, how to get about. But your counselor will know how to navigate the bureaucrats, maybe the politician, the government, the funds. They will know how to do it. So once they are on board with you, and they will be because they are your representatives. They do want your votes, right?
Exactly. And
And
the
they,
thing is that there was a big problem, and we went to the commissioner. The councillor came with us. There were about
yeah,
10 of us went, and
yeah,
the commissioner said that, you have to take appointments and come. I'm busy.
yeah,
And the councillor said, "No,
yeah,
you are because these people are, and if
yeah,
they come and I
yeah,
bring them, you have to
yeah,
listen."
yeah,
The
yeah,
councillor, the commissioner
yeah.
sat down and listened. So you
Yeah.
see, there is a lot of power out there.
True.
And I've
Very true.
always wondered why more people don't get up and agitate for good governance. Now, I know that the CACP has been doing a series of discussions around municipal governance, and Professor Rakesh Mohan and Mr. O.P. Mathur, these are people who have worked in city governance, right? They
Yeah,
worked
true.
in the urban space. They all feel that actually the first problem is the lack of funds. If you
Absolutely. Yeah.
empower them, and there is a system of getting funds. Now
Yeah.
let's put aside what is right now. Are cities able to raise enough funds to run those 18 functions that they have to do?
Absolutely. So, Jesse, you're right? Even I mentioned lack of funds is the problem. But I think we are stuck in a box. I mean, as well as city governance, right? We are not ready to think out of the box. Now, as a city governance, there are many options which I have available with me first where I can directly collect. For example, I have property taxes, I have service charges, I have building approvals, development charges. So I already have a plethora of fees which I am allowed to collect from my people, whoever I'm giving services, right? Apart from that, I mean, now that we work a lot, we have also worked with Government of India and financing the future cities, right? There are many out-of-box solutions which are available. For example, Nagpur, right? Nagpur Municipal Governance, they did a PPP with one of the agencies where for sewage water treatment. So doing the water treatment, supplying it to the power plant. Power plants needs water, right? So it served it served dual purpose. One is treatment of water and of course even the water supply. In this, it was a PPP where even Nagpur Municipal Governance stand to gain money. So it was not just that, PPP, they had to give money, they could even earn money. So like this, and now as you mentioned, there's so many government schemes available, right? For housing, for everything. Now we have so many government schemes available. Are we, as when I say we, as city government, are we leveraging all these funding options optimally so that we get what we want? I think the entire planning strategy is somewhere missing in the entire city governance. That's my. I'm not saying after doing all of this, I'm still not saying that we will be completely financially self-sustainable. At least not all cities will be. But at least we'll have a substantial chunk of money. And of course, for the rest, maybe we will still be dependent on the state government or the central governments. Right. But at least let's try all the options available, which I think right now we are not trying. Property tax, if we efficiently collect property tax itself, I think that would be a big achievement.
And in an era of AI, machine learning, and so on, we have been digitizing Indian land records forever.
Yeah.
We're working with Naksha. Hopefully, that will have way more success. But the point is that there are so many empowering mechanisms that are available to cities. Is it that the cities themselves are stuck in a time warp? They are unequal partners to the private sector. They don't have the capacities.
Yes, I would like to think so. Yes, I think that city, as you rightly said, right? They first, I don't think they have the mindset right now. I think there's a big lack of capacity building for, if I may say so, that once someone becomes a municipal councillor, once someone becomes a municipal commissioner, can we do some kind of a training that as municipal commissioner, what is it that you have to do? That city planning, what is the vision which you need to work on as a municipal councillor, mayor? What is that I need to work on? I think there is a requirement of the mindset change, or you may call it training, capacity building, or some kind of a workshop. Yes.
But the thing is that it's not that we don't have it. We have NIUA, we have many organizations that have the mandate to train government authorities. Where do we fall short? Is it that they don't understand what the problems on the ground is, or is it that when they come for the training, they just come because they are sent for a training, but after that there is no step up that is required.
So in this stretch, I strongly believe that change takes time, right? I think till 10 years ago, we were not even having these conversations, right? Yes. Till now, urban governance was not even an important topic to discuss about. I think over the past 3-4 years, maybe 5 years, everyone is awoken to the fact that yes, urban government is a priority.
And we have to thank climate change for this. We have intense rainfall, we have intense heat, we have, the problems are compounded, and there's no way you have to address it, and at the city level, right? And COVID was
actually. We have to thank all the wrong factors for this. But yeah, you're right. So I think now people are waking up to the fact that urban governance can't be business as usual, right? We need to, and I think over the next, I think over the next 2 years we will see that change. I am hopeful we will see that change. In fact, just to add to your point, for example, Mission Karmyogi, the Honorable Prime Minister's mission of capacity building and developing skill of government officials across, they have this entire focus on urban governance. So they have started developing toolkits for every cadre, for every person in the entire city governance, from commissioner to even the most junior field beneficiary. So they have planned a bunch of trainings. But it's a process, right? Change will take time. I think we have started the change. The process has started, which we're very happy about. The whole idea is how do we accelerate this transformation?
Now let's talk about the people that you surveyed. Yeah. Do they need to know the toolkits? Do they need to know where to go to when something?
100%. Unless they wake up to this fact, I'm sure the change will be very, 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 very slow. So even, in fact, you know what? In the study which we did, right? One thing which we found very surprising, where millennials were much more interested and much more participative. So in the percentage of people who voted, so almost 38% people didn't even go out and vote in the municipal elections. But the people if I look at millennials, so they had much more participation in the voting also compared to the other generations. So I think first, maybe as a generation shift, the newer generation is much more participative. They are much more. They want to be much more aware. They want to make informed choices. But having said that, let's not wait for millennials to, as you know, we can't just keep waiting for them that they will keep making the change. I think for citizens to participate more, again, I just mentioned this, I think we need to bring in transparency. Right now, they know nothing about the government and they don't want to again go to an office, make lots of effort to find out. And then, so they may as well, they think we may as well not do anything. But once information is on their fingertips, once they have an easy platform to be part of this governance, I think people would be involved.
And is there a benchmark on what how citizens can participate, other than the fact that they can raise issues, they can go to the councillors, they can work with the councillors? Is there a toolkit for citizens?
So see, okay, for citizens, right? As you rightly said, right now I think our participation of citizen is more. I mean, I wouldn't want to use the word activism. I don't know, but it's more like it's more like RTI kind of a thing. Why didn't I get so and so service? Why is as in why are there being so many potholes? But I don't think there's participative governance. For example, as you mentioned, right? Now, over the next 5 years, these are the various initiatives which maybe government is planning to do. So can citizens vote that this is what maybe these are the 3 priority areas, or in my ward this is something which we want maybe next 2 years, 3 years this could be planned. So can we involve citizens in suggestions for the plans? In fact, as part of ward committees, citizens are supposed to submit their suggestions on the planning part also. What are the parks? What are these social infrastructure, etc., which citizens want in their wards? How do we actually make that ward committees more in spirit rather than in letter right now? Right? How do we make it more? How can we use the technology? How can we get more feedback from citizens? I think that will be really helpful.
Right. I'll give you a small example of how we worked as citizens. Of course, there were a few more people like me, and we were not activists. We were trying to find out
right? Solution, yeah.
And there was there is one particular portion of South City where there is a market area and there is flooding. It has flooded for the last 21 years, and it is continuing to flood with small this thing. When we went and said, look, we want to know why it's flooding so that we can find a solution. They found that there was a village, the village sewage was coming into the drainage channel was getting clogged, and the water was not going through. So we said, now what's the solution? We cannot ask for a sewage channel for the village. We got the councillor to get the MP actually, or MLA, to come and give us about 16 lakhs to create an alternate sewage channel, which would decongest the drainage channels. And it worked. For some time it worked. But it hasn't gone through the whole hog.
Yeah.
I think that if citizens put pressure, you can find solutions.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Joshua. And I think I should then take your expert inputs, your experiences, and maybe the next thought leadership can be around case studies which have been a success.
No, I think I personally believe that you have no right to complain if you haven't tried to fix the problem.
Exactly. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, Shashi.
Okay. Now, tell me something. A city has wards, right?
Yeah.
And when the assets are allocated in the city, is it ward-wise?
So see, budgets are ward-wise. City, they do ensure there is equitable, distribution of assets. When I say equitable, it could be as the population. There is no strict formula that no, this ward needs to have this much, this ward, but broadly they do ensure, at least they try to ensure equitable distribution.
Okay. And then you have to then make sure that those assets come up well in your wards, right?
Actually, one more thing when I was mentioning, right, citizen participation, I also want the culture of citizen ownership, right? So, for example, when you mentioned assets in my ward, the park, do I think that is my park to conserve, my park to ensure it's maintained well? So even that's, I mean, it could be citizen ownership, or But I want that citizen feeling to also and start generating among us.
That will only happen when, citizens are, public memory is short and citizens are very selfish, right? So the only way you can sell that to citizens is when you tell them that if in this ward, if urban heat island is your problem, the temperatures have gone up to 50 and you need to cool it down, there has to be a planned strategy. Let's work together to create this ward as a, lower heat ward. Or if that's waterlogging, how can we pick that up as an issue and then take it forward, saying that if in the next year, what are the 10 things we have to do so that there is no waterlogging? Now, that these are issues. But like you talked about assets, during COVID, various groups that I'm part of, international groups, most of the people who were locked in, they wanted municipal bonds to come. They wanted to invest in municipal bonds. But our asset quality is so weak that our municipal bonds never ever, it's not something that you can sell to the citizens saying, invest in this. What does it take to get that ownership? See, it's a multi-pronged thing. If the city makes sure that the assets are investment worthy, then they can come up with bonds. The citizens, when they see that if they invest in the bonds, they get some dividends, they will invest in the bonds and the money will automatically be raised. But why does that not happen?
So see, again, to this point, I think Indian cities are waking up to this fact that we need alternate sources of financing, and municipal bonds is one such source which we can leverage. Right. So I'm sure you're aware now cities have started issuing municipal bonds in various cities. When I say various, there's still handful, but still, in India, now we do have cities who are raising municipal bonds. I think again, but again, the problem is these are the major cities, the tier one cities who have now, they have developed capacities to first ensure that they are first able to bifurcate the assets, make them independent, have independent revenue expenditure as well as inflows, which they can then earmark for the entire bond process, right? So I think again, it's matter of, I think we have the potential. I think assets, at least in the bigger cities, can be developed. The capacities, I think, is the challenge. How do we ensure the capacities are there for the bonds for the bigger cities, right? We need a political will, we need the leadership will to first come out with the bonds. And many cities in India have now come out with the bonds. So I think that is there. In tier 2 cities, the asset quality is still a challenge. But at least once we start with the tier 1 cities, and then we can figure out how we want to.
But you have a Indore, you have a Surat. These are not tier 1 cities. Just good municipal commissioners who thought that its waste was a resource and how can we unlock the value of that resource? Who thought that water, I mean, in Ghaziabad, I spoke to the administrator, and she said was that what do I have in plenty? I have small units. So they need water. What do I have? I have a lot of wastewater. Let me assess, process this wastewater, give it to them, make money, and use it for the city.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, right? And the first green bonds came out of Ghaziabad, right? Which even the Niti Aayog, recognized. Yes. So you see, like I said,
I think it all boils down to capacity thinking, right?
Yes. How can you trigger that? Where can you trigger that? I mean, you are a think tank. You are people who have worked with the best municipalities and best governance mechanisms in the world. So, what is the role that you see for private entities?
So again, I think again, I strongly believe that things are changing. Now we do have, for example, municipal bonds, right? Now we have Government of India, we have state governments pushing urban local bodies to figure out alternate means of finance, go for municipal bonds, so on and so forth. So I think yes, but I still agree it's not system based. So we don't have a system that irrespective of the commissioner, they will be municipal bonds. Right. It's still dependent on the leader on the top. But I think maybe in the long run, we need to change the dependency from the commissioner to maybe say the elected representative, because as you rightly said, right? Commissioner may be there for 1 year, 2 years, definitely not more than 3 years. Elected representative will be there for a longer duration, at least for 5 years or so. Maybe that is the change which we need to maybe instill, when the elected representative is more responsible for driving the municipal activities also.
Right, absolutely. And I truly believe that, if there are 2 or 3 instances where even within wards, within cities, within maybe census towns where a lead was taken by a good individual or a set of individuals. These are case studies, and my aim is to just if something's worked somewhere, bring it to the public notice. Two and 50 make a million. We'll see the world go around.
Yeah. And actually, it's very good food for thought you have given me, Jayashree. For example, if I draw a parallel of the city governments with maybe say state governments, right? A city, we have a mayor and we have a commissioner, right? The state equivalent is a chief minister and maybe say a chief secretary. We know in state government, it's the chief minister who has all the power, who drives strategy for the state, right? He's an elected representative. Why can't the same parallel be drawn in city governance also? So maybe we really need to look at the powers and responsibilities of a city mayor and a bureaucrat who has the final approval. Like in state government, we know that all the cabinet approvals, I mean, there are various levels of approvals which has to go to the chief minister. Do we have such parallel approvals in city governance also? I think that's I think that's a wonderful food for thought, which we really need to explore. Maybe that's something which we need to change.
And even when the elected representative and the top tier of the bureaucracy, there's a lot of effort to train them. Unless we can get the operational lower levels working and taking charge of that, you'll never see change. Actually, on the ground, it cannot happen. A good municipal commissioner without good work cannot do that, right?
And you're very true. Many of the municipal bodies, I mean, the lower staff are there for years and years and years. Municipal commissioners just come for 1 year, 2 years. These are old bodies. At times, he or she himself is helpless. How much change can they drive among the established mindset, established way of working?
And I've seen in a city like Gurgaon, which is such a revenue earner for the state, until the chief minister started empowering the city bureaucracy. It's possible. The chief minister organized I think it was called urbanization strategy meet or something like that. I saw such a gap, and they called the citizens in the end of it. Suddenly, I saw everybody getting galvanized to action, moving, and things like that. I think we need more of these conversations.
I think we should immediately start this ranking of cities. I think this really working well in Maharashtra. Right now, our Honorable Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, sir, he has identified a 100-day agenda among all the departments, and this ranking of departments, this competition between departments. I think we should start a ranking of cities in a state. So while Government of India did start ranking, but I think that is going to another set of issues. But at state level, why can't we start having ranking of cities? I think this is also a good initiative which we can start.
Especially because cities have been selected. 7,100 cities have already been talked about. It's there in census 2026. So we know the cities. Now let's talk about who's doing well in what, and let them compete with each other within the state, right?
And there are many things more, Jayashree. For example, when we talk about DPI, right, digital public infrastructure. Now, every city needs the same DPI. Every city would need a property tax system. Every city would need a service delivery, right, birth certificate. These are common applications for every city. At a state level, can we have a common DPI, a common, a platform where any city, if they want, they can just use one of these softwares. There's just one technology like this. There could be so many things which all the cities need.
Right.
So
great ideas, Aarti. I think what we should do is make this a regular feature, because cities are under stress and consumers are citizens are under stress. And I think if we can do this at least once every month or quarter or whatever, what will happen is and push this into the citizenry. So they listen to these conversations and say that if I have a problem, there are solutions somebody else is working on. It would work. And a big thank you to you for doing a study like this. I think more such studies have to be done.
I am with you. I think there's much more which we need to do, and I'm sure people like you and me will keep doing it, and there will be a change, Jayashree. Mark my words. I think 15 years down the line, we'll be having this conversation how things have changed in urban governments.
But I want to have that conversation in the next 2 years.
Yes,
I want the change to happen in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
And that
actually.
proves that if citizens work,
Yeah.
things can change at the ground.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Rishi. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.